The FCI, besides having its permanent staff led by the executive director, are run by a board of directors comprising of 9 elected members. From this group of 9, there is a further smaller group of 3 called the executive committee, who are more involved in the day-to-day running of the FCI. This board of 3 people consists of the president, vice president, and the treasurer. And in this episode, we speak to the vice president and treasurer of the FCI to find out the roles and functions of this executive committee and how it works to help run this organization. Hi, everyone, and welcome to this episode where we talk to the executive committee of the FCI. And in this episode, or in this segment of the episode, I have the honor of speaking to the vice president of the FCI, Mr. Gerard Gipping, all the way from the Netherlands. Hello, Gerard, how are you?
Hello, Kopi. Nice to meet you. How are you? It's a long time that we see each other.
Oh, too long. It's been way too long. It's good to see you, even if it's by Zoom, but at least we get to see you. I hope you're keeping well and doing good.
Yes, we are going very good. It is not easy in this time of the year because a lot of problems, the pandemic is going around again and coming closer and closer and closer. But I hope that it will go on in some places, but we for sure every country have the same problem, that some things we must be careful, that we must be really careful how we do what we are doing.
Absolutely. All right, I'm going to jump straight in so we have more time with the questions for the interview. How long have you been on the FCI board and how long have you been vice president?
Oh, I did start in France. On the World Dog Show in France, there we had a General Assembly.
Right.
And there I was for elections. I was the lucky person who they elected. And there I did start with to be a board member of the FCI.
Okay.
The board member of the FCI, I was till now then. To be vice president, it was going in time because it was not time, but time. What is time in our world?
Right.
I was in Budapest, so I was 2 years together with Hans Müller, still as the president of the FCI.
Right.
And then in Budapest, Hans Müller did leave us as president, and then Rafael Santiago did take it over.
Correct.
And in Budapest, I became then treasurer.
Okay.
This will I never forget, me as treasurer. And I was hoping that will not happen, but there was a situation there that happens. And I didn't want to be treasurer, but the board members asking me and pushing me a little bit. And I said, okay, I will do it. But please, as soon as possible, somebody else must take it over because I'm not a financial expert. Sometimes you must know from yourself what your competence are and what not. So this was not. But I did survive these 2 years, and I always said, also in the General Assembly, on the moment that it started, I said, please accept that I am a baby treasurer. It's not looking like that, but I'm a baby treasurer.
I was going to say.
and then 2 years after, the changing, and Carla Molinari became the treasurer, and I became vice president.
Okay.
And this I did stay for, when was it, in 2018, 2019. Then I go out of the executive board, and Carla Molinari did take over the vice presidentship, and Tamas did start with the treasurer. And 2 years later in Shanghai, I became again vice president.
Right. But you have remained on the board for this entire period from the World Dog Show in France. You've been continuously on the board of directors.
Yes.
And that's by elections, correct? I mean, you get elected every 4 years, 2 years, 2 years. Yeah, 2 years.
No, every 4 years.
4 years, correct. Okay, yeah.
Every 4 years we are elected. So I was re-elected also now 2 times then. And the re-election for now, my 4 years is done already, actually in 2020, but we postponed the General Assembly to Madrid World Dog Show. We have always the General Assembly in connection to the World Dog Show.
Right.
Before the World Dog Show starts, we have the meetings, and there is re-elections again for the next 4 years.
Okay. Can you tell us what the specific role is of the vice president? What does the vice president of the FCI do?
The most easiest way to come from this question is to assist and substitute the president. This is the most clever way to say it.
Okay.
This also, because if in a lot of organizations, the vice president has a special task. This task is not so in the FCI.
Okay.
This is actually the only task. Is the president is falling away, he is ill or whatever, cannot come, then I must replace him.
Okay.
And then I have the same things to do as what he has to do. And otherwise, I because of the function, there are 3 functions who are sitting in the executive committee. There's the president, the vice president, and the treasurer, who take the daily job on this together with the general secretary.
Okay.
So this is the main things, and otherwise the things what you are doing is in the same way as this is my duck sound actually.
I could recognize the ducks bark.
and this, sorry, and this is the way of working. So I have the other tasks, like the other general committee members. I have different kind of tasks, different kind of committees where I've confirmed to, but not actually. I had only once a meeting where I did take over from the president, because on that moment he couldn't come, and it was not Thomas, but there was Raphael, where I took over and he couldn't come. And otherwise this is the same for me, the same as everybody else in the board.
Okay, but does the executive committee have, say, certain additional powers over the general board in terms of decision making because you're part of the executive committee? Is there some sort of like?
Yes, if you talk about the executive committee, we have some power. Also, the president has some power, but it must be in agreement with the statutes and standard orders, of course. He can make some decision if the daily things are going on, and there's coming a letter from a member, then he can answer together with the general secretary. He can answer these letters directly, and also have the questions about directly.
Okay.
If it is coming more to the decision points, what is important for our dog world, then for sure he brings it in the executive committee, and the executive committee can talk about it. In a lot of times we can make the decision what to do, but these decisions, what to do, is not always the end decision from some action. This is only from, okay, let us send the letter and let us ask for more clarification. Or let us say from, we have the contact with them and they can explain us what is going on, and then come back. If then they're coming back and the case is so important that we say from, okay, now this case will go to the general committee.
Okay.
So the executive committee have some duties more, but there's more also the preparing from the agenda. You must prepare the agenda, of course, and urgent decision. Like every organization have sometimes a small daily board for the urgent decision. So if there is a decision made from today, and you cannot wait so long, then you must take sometimes a decision. Sometimes it is going correct, and sometimes the general committee maybe say, for okay, we could also do it this way, or we could do it that way, but you must react directly.
Right.
And actually, in my feelings, we should react even quicker as directly, because we are sometimes like a union. You know, then you must make a decision, and instead of to make the decision, that you can make the decision on the statutes and the standing orders and the rules what you have, you must go back to the members. And this, of course, we are democratic organization, so you must go back. But this is not always in a good way for the decision what you make, because we know also that the union sometimes must make a decision, go back to the members. It's not talking about here, and they is not agree. This is not agree, and then the case is already almost done, or is already passed.
Yeah,
and especially in our world, where we have to do with a lot of, let's say, purebred dog problems from outside, not from inside, but especially also from outside, then we should have the possibility to even react quicker.
Okay, so I guess in a way you're like a first filter system to any issues that come through to the office. So if it's something that Yves can't it's beyond his scope, then it comes to the executive committee. The executive committee can do preliminary, findings or whatever. If it's something complicated that needs the entire board, then the issue goes to the board. But so it's like to speed up things so that communications and action, because some things, as you said, are time sensitive, so that they have to be dealt with quicker. So okay, understood. We're talking of Yves in the episode with him. We understood that the FCI, the members of the FCI, are actually the countries, and it's not individuals, the breeders or the exhibitors. But do you find that it's important for you as a board member to touch base with the breeders, to have that connection, to not dismiss it and say, oh, you need to deal with your countries, or to talk to members, breeders, exhibitors, so that you have, not members, but your breeders and exhibitors, as a way for you to stay in touch with what's going on with them? Do you feel that's important, and how do you do that?
It is not important, but a must.
Okay, I like that.
A must, because if you don't do this, and I love this way of talking with everybody, because otherwise you will lose the direction. It's the same as if somebody is stopping with their work and they go in pension and they don't look anymore what is going on in their job. In 1.5 years, they cannot say anything anymore about the job, only talking from out the past, but not talking anymore from the today.
Right.
And if we, in my opinion, the FCI board should look in the future. And still we are doing too much looking on the daily or in the past.
Okay.
We should, if we want to save our world, FCI look to the future, not to the day, because to have the problems from today is because in the past we didn't look to these problems, and we should much more reacting earlier on these things as before, and to talk with breeders, and to talk with exhibitors, to talk with judges, to talk with agility people, to talk with obedience people. It is so important, and I love to do that. And I have the story from that I have now by myself, also a dog. I go back to the show, and we are showing our dog, and I can tell you it is so nice and so special.
Yes.
To hear all the people sitting around and you, where you have a nice days with, about where they are about talking and what they are talking, and like in a small dog club.
Yes.
If there's a problem, the kennel club is the faulty one. But we have also the FCI, so there's more fault. And if you're sitting there and you can explain what is going on and how it is going on,
right,
they say to you, oh yeah, you are right. Okay. And this is also a main thing, to make it more clear to everybody. And this you can only do if you are between them, to make clear what is the possibilities and what you can do, or what we can do together.
Right.
Because this is where it is going about. And the purpose and the people who are not anymore involved, and not anymore have the passion to be what I said sometimes on the floor together with the in the dog show, but in agility, in other takes of obedience. I himself by the committees from flyball, dog dancing, and sighthounds.
Okay.
And I have 3 working committees.
Right.
That means sport with dogs. And if you then talk with the people from this area, with their ideas, then there is also coming from that I said always from FCI, we should use more and more all the things what we are doing with the dogs.
Yes.
Because the people of the flyball loves to do this sport.
Yeah.
And actually go to some youth shows where they do the presentation from flyball, the people are crazy about.
Oh yes, they go nuts.
And what is the press about writing this? Beautiful. What a sport. And the same as doggy dancing.
Yes.
You know that the programs on the television, the Netherlands Get Talent or the Malaysia Get Talent, and people can come there. I saw now already more times that somebody comes on this Got Talent and they train her with a dog and let's see doggy dancing or whatever. And the world is crazy. I saw once even that somebody get a golden buzzer for it.
Yes.
Well, it was so nice.
The British one, they won. The lady won.
Yes.
Oh, she was a winner, overall winner.
And then everybody is happy and everybody loves it and everybody write down, we should use this more. We should use it because this is our dogs. This is our hobby and not focus only on the shows, because we are focused sometimes too much on the shows. And I love the shows. Don't mix it. I love the shows. I love to judge on the shows, but we must not forget all the possibilities what we have for our dogs and what we can do with our dogs, because this brings us the positivity from our hobby.
Agreed. And talking of all this, do you find that the FCI has changed in the way that we now have to be more of a political organization to defend our sport, to defend what we love, because of things that are happening in the world now, that we've gone away from the basics, right?
No, I did work by a huge company, and there it was going on. Go quick, down, decide. And then I come also by the government. Was also going quick, but the decisions goes a little bit slower. And this is also by the FCI, I think. I saw some going good directions, but so slowly. And how we can do it quicker? No, sometimes it is not possible to make it quicker. I remember me in the meeting of Budapest where we did talk about the pedigree program, or where we talk about the possibility that the exhibitors could ask for the diplomas directly by the FCI. I'm in big favor of this kind of things, and I'm still loving the idea to have one pedigree program over all the world, what we can use, because if we can manage this, then also we will be much more stronger.
Yeah.
And this is the same story in this question from well, what is going on, but we have members, and a lot of times one member is in favor, one member is not in favor, and then it is also, now I say not some popular thing maybe, but it is also that in some cases the personal or the country feeling is going in front of the general feeling. We have around 100 members.
Yes.
And if one member is not feeling happy in the decisions what we make in the FCI, then I will say sorry. But if we want to go forward, if we want to keep our hobby as it is, or it's with some changes, or we want to keep our breeds, then please take the hands together and help us together to solve this kind of problem. And this is going sometimes too slowly, and to what I like more to go it more quicker, and yeah, and to be more visible that we are doing it together. And I'm happy that the last years, because I was also some who always that said I want to have two kind of people more in professionals, not because don't forget all these board members from us are professionals in their way.
Yes.
But not daily available. And this is a big problem. And the other kind of organization where we have to do, they have the possibility, they have daily available people. And I said, I always and slowly it comes a little bit closer. I'm happy with this. I said always I need a public relation, marketing, communication person who can be the first person who, if somewhere is going on, he can go as first one, do something.
Yeah. Like
what we have now a little with you and with Martin, but even more. Actually, for me, it can be an employer,
right,
who is working for this. Like also some governments or big organization doing it. The first person what you hear where they can talk about it, and this I think we need very much, because then you can also have the view on the future.
Yes.
Much more possibilities to look what is the future, what we can do in the future, what we must do to avoid this problem or this problem in the future. Because we talk about some problems now also about the Brachycephalids, we know all the story, but also in other cases there are still already some signals from, okay, but there they want to talk about it, and there they will also start to talk about it. And I think that we must have already our plan ready, that if they want to talk about it, we are quicker as them. Active, we should much more active and not proactive. And I know I'm one of the all, but and I know that in some cases maybe I also should be something more proactive, active. But this you can only do if you have the feeling we are all together and we're standing all together and we have only one interest and passion. And this is in favor of our dogs.
Do you think that having said all that it's important therefore for the FCI to have close relationships with other related bodies in terms of even government bodies or welfare organizations and those sort of things, so that we are better represented? And do you think that's something that NCOs need to do in their own countries, so that they are the first point of contact, not the last?
They should do it, because the first signal is coming mostly in the country.
Yes.
And if the Netherlands something happens, you don't hear it in Malaysia.
Yeah.
But if they go directly to the FCI and say, listen, this is the problem, what we have to deal with, and this problem is coming on, and this comes in the future for sure, also for the court and all these kind of things. And we can find directly, and that's we should do more, find directly some proactive things to do.
Okay.
And this is and this we cannot do. But there's coming back on what I said. We should have this communication full-time working, so he or she can do much more directly and action directly and go somewhere. But we should also, and we have a good lawyer, but not in our job. The most biggest kennel clubs have their own lawyers already.
Okay.
I think the Netherlands have 2 lawyers.
Okay.
Germany have even more, I think. But not only because of law cases, but also because of reactions from somewhere that they can, and that they can read it and can read your reactions, what you can do in a proactive way. And yes, first the kennel club should do it, But second, also the FCI
Do you think
must do it.
Do you think the FCI is doing enough of that, of building those relationships with, I mean, we've seen it with BOAS, we've seen it, with this whole taking this proactive step forward to deal with this thing. Are we doing enough of it? Okay,
no.
Let's rephrase it. There's obviously more that we can do, and there's plans that are there for us to do more, to become more involved. But the issue, as you said, is it happens in the countries first. So the countries, if the countries are not engaged with it, the FCI cannot go into Malaysia and say to the government, so that's the hurdle always. The FCI cannot go into the Netherlands and say, hey, government, you need to, because the country representative, which is the Kennel Club, needs to do it. And as you and I know, unfortunately, they're not proactive enough. But the blame always comes to the FCI. So I know the FCI is trying, but it is difficult, right? Because the first step needs to be taken by the national club.
Yeah,
we need to do that.
But there is the decision makers from the country, because the rules and the law from the country is always overruling our statutes and our rules. Correct. So this is so if this is coming, they should do directly reacting, and they should have directly ready. Okay. But to be honest, and I look to my own area, not to look to other kennel clubs, sometimes also there is the professionalism not directly there on this kind of levels.
Okay.
To be a partner from the government, you must have the level to do it.
Okay.
It sounds hard, but you must have the level, and you must know how to talk with the people and where you can talk with the people. And this is in a lot of cases also with the welfare organization. You must know how to talk with these welfare people and how to manage a problem if there is coming a problem. And it is not always easy. And I say always listen, everybody has his own competences. And as soon as everybody knows what is their own competences, then he is quicker agree to hire somebody else to help him in that problem, because the communication and to talk on that levels, to be honest, there is not a lot of board members who have this power in them. So what they should do is to hire the people who have the possibility. And if the FCI, if I now look to the FCI, we try to do reacting quick. If the signal is coming from the country, we try to react very quick with the possibilities that we have. And in some cases, I think with success. With success, more as in the past, because the FCI did once they start only to talk about the shows and not talking about else. And then it is developing. This comes there, this comes extra, it comes commission, some sport is coming more. Breeding is coming more, breeding is coming stronger. And now I think the most important point is to talk about breeding. And this is, I think, a case what we should talk more.
It's what's being attacked currently around the world. You see it in South America, we're seeing it in Europe. It'll come to Asia as well. It's a matter of time. I mean, it's already here in some ways. But just going back a little bit, I guess one of the issues though, right, and correct me if I'm wrong, with the FCI to have that level of involvement would require changing the statutes, because the way the statutes are written, the powers that are given to the board or the way the organization runs is very much different to, say, these organizations that have come up more recently that have, ways to make them more effective in that sense. But I guess the limitations come from how we were structured. I mean, we're a 100-year-old, over 100 years organization. And to do some of the things that you're talking about would require changing the statutes and amending how we run as an organization, I guess. Is that correct?
Yes, it is. Because if you want to do this, and I think it is important to do this, we did change in 2018 already the statutes in a little bit in that direction. but still not enough. And I think if we want to talk more about it, we should actually make the FCI stronger. The Kennel Club should say, in some cases, this power we should give from the FCI, but the FCI must be prepared for it, and the FCI must have the people for it to do it. Because this is, of course, the main point in what is going on sometimes, because sometimes we cannot do anything. Sometimes also the standard.
Sorry, can you give me an example of something that you feel that, you know, the FCI should have a little bit more power in terms of what they're able to do?
Standards.
Okay.
The standards is national.
Okay.
So if you have a national breed, who makes the standards? Who is the main person in the standards? The national organization. And
Correct.
then it is going to the FCI, and we cannot do a lot on it. Only if it is textual something wrong, then we can change it. But otherwise, the standard committee can propose to do something else or say something. But we are not really in the power to change it. And I think it is good to make it possible in some cases, not the whole standard, but in some cases that we can add something, or we can say, this is what we want to have by all the breeds, or this breed is a beautiful breed, but we should change this text a little bit because the world is reacting on this text. And okay, the country don't want to change this text, but maybe we should. And I know that is a hot item if I say this, but I think it is important to realize with each other that some things we must do, and we must agree that it is not anymore in the time, because FCI act, in some cases they act still 30, 40 years ago, like that way. And now I was so happy. I'm sitting in the Sighthound Raising and Coursing Committee. For 4 years ago, I said, look to your statutes, because they are very old. Look to this and look to your rules and say to yourself and think out of the box to make new. Yeah, but this, think out of the box and look to this. And they did it. And they managed it.
Wow. And
I'm so happy that this year they make totally new rules. There was a lot of discussions, a lot of education, there's a lot of implementation things, what should happen. But they managed this to think out of the box. And if I now see how people happy with this, I think so it is possible. It is possible. But you must be open for it.
But okay, so I want to play devil's advocate here. It's also possible because the people who came up with these rules are the stakeholders. They are the people that are involved. If we had employees, as you were suggesting, would that make it harder though? Because these are not the people that are involved in the actual sport or those things that are, you know, so they cannot, if they come up with rules and they're not on the ground participating, it would be very difficult as an employee. So in a sense, aren't there some benefits to the way FCI is structured, that it's the people who are actually directly involved that are responsible for coming up with the rules, for amending the things? You know, it's the breeders that decide with the breed clubs that what should stay, what should be amended. In that sense, doesn't that
yes,
a uniqueness that we have?
Oh, I agree. It is costing your management to arrange this.
Yeah.
But I agree, because in this case, for also the Sighthound committee, I came only with the idea. I said only think out of the box.
Right.
Further, they did the work.
Yes.
And of course, there was some talking in between, but I didn't go inside of these cases. And they did it totally by themselves.
Right.
And this brings the power, and this brings the acceptation from the people, because it comes from their own people. This comes from their own people who is also on the racing track, who you see also there working with the dog.
Yeah.
And this is important. The only thing is, it costs you a little bit more management.
Yes.
to make the goal and make the way visible, and it costs a little bit more time, but then you have also something.
Yeah, I see the benefits of that, because then it's the people who are directly involved that are coming up with the things, and they are have that personal, intimate knowledge of what works, what doesn't, as opposed to being told by a bureaucrat, for example, what to do, because then they'd be like, you don't understand how this works or whatever. So I guess I see what you mean for time management, because all of us are doing this as a hobby. It's not a job, and so it comes as free time rather than our professional time. But in some ways, there's, I guess, merits that people are they're a stakeholder.
But I'm also the since a few years president of a regional club.
Okay.
Where they do obedience, where they do agility, where they do some other sports, where they do seminars, and where they do also a dog show.
Okay.
So this brings me so close again to the people and what they are thinking and where they about thinking. You know, I did talk in the past a lot of obedience. And then I was thinking, oh, I am so clever in this. I want to say something wrong, but I'm so clever in this. But I find out you can be only clever if you stand on the field and look what is going on and listen what is going on.
Absolutely.
And this brings so much good things in a way. And if now in this board where I'm the president sitting, then I ask directly first if there's something, what you think about it, what you think about it, and what you think about it. And then it is going on. And then they have also the acceptation for what is decisions. If I will say by myself, guys, we must do this, we must do that, we must do that, even if I have it maybe correct, but it's not always working.
Yeah.
We must do this in cooperation with each other.
I agree that you have to get everyone to buy into that, and you cannot dictate it, but you have to get everyone's agreement on it.
Absolutely.
Okay, let's talk about my last question. What about the future of the FCI? What challenges do you think we will hold us from moving forward as an organization?
You know, this is a wish from me what maybe not comes so easy, and maybe I will never find it by myself coming. I like the FCE as a really umbrella.
Okay.
But now times is the umbrella is FCI, member is the kennel club, and under the kennel clubs is happened everything where we are the umbrella from. And I like to have this umbrella that's a little bit bigger, that we have more under. And I said once, and I'm still thinking about that we should have a three-way point. We should have the sections.
Okay.
But under every section, you should have a breeders group and judges group, but judges not only from shows, but from all the activities, and the kennel clubs. And we should have the statutes more in the direction of these three. So if it is really going about breeding things, we should ask the breeders, not the vets, the breeders. If it is really going about judging cases, education or whatever, we should talk with them. And this is what we are doing not enough. This we could bring better in a structure under our organization, so that this is more happen. Not why I say not directly under the FCI, but under the section, because this brings them closer. Because you know, sometimes it's still far away. Malaysia is from the Netherlands, far away.
Okay.
And if somebody from the Netherlands must talk about some cases, they don't know what has happened there. And the other way, of course, the same. So I think this kind of structures should be more open, and more that we had more possibilities to have these ones in our directions. And we can do this also with seminars. We can do it on different kind of ways, because if you have these three groups under the section,
Right.
You do once in the 2 years, and seminar or working I don't know actually how you want to call it, but with only the breeders, the possibility only breeders, and don't let talk a vet, or don't let talk some professor and I don't know what, but let talk the breeders about what they think. Give them some cases and let them think and not talk about it. This gives, I think, much more stronger way in the future, because in a lot of international organizations they do it on the same way.
Okay.
To
So
bring
what you're suggesting is to take currently the commissions that we have, but to also make them at section level first before they come at FCI level.
Yeah.
So have all the commissions that we have, like the judges commission, the all the other commissions that the FCI, with all the sports, with the dancing dogs, but at a section level first before they get to national level, global or international level.
Yes, yes. So that also the global can work with this and can act more to the future.
Okay.
Because this we forget all the time. We are acting on what is going on now, but
Right.
we should acting on what is going in the future. This is another kind of management, but I feel now that it is the last years is going a little bit in this direction.
Yes.
Because I think slowly everybody, and also in our board, we know that we must do going in this direction. Yeah. But we must do in this case, and there are more small things what can happen and what can do. We promote and protect our kynology. This is one of the main cases what we do, promoting and protect kynology, and purebred dogs, of course, and by everything what we want to mean, and let us make us more clear about what we mean with that. Okay. And this is now what we do the last years more and more to make it more clean. We must more help, not only solve problems, but also helping to solve the future problems.
Excellent. Thank you so much. I know we've taken a little bit more time than we expected. I've taken more than time that I expected of you, but I really appreciate this. I hope you've enjoyed it. Any parting thoughts, or you're good with what's been shared?
No, I'm always try to very open in my thinking and in my talking. In this way, I never need to remember me what I said. Because I will say the next time the same. Okay. And if you are more open and you are transparent in your thinking and your saying, then you make mistakes. Of course, make mistakes. What somebody say from this is not nice what he said, or this I don't like even what he said. But in another case, some will say from, yeah, but he is right what he said.
Yes.
So I like to be more open and transparent, and I did learn this from the past. Then I also don't need to remember.
Very wise advice. Thank you so much, Gerard. I really enjoyed myself, and thank you for your time and for helping us to let people know a little bit more what the FCI is, what the executive committee does, and also personally your thoughts on the future and what's going on with the FCI. I've really appreciated that. Thank you so much. Take care and stay safe, and hope to see you soon somewhere.
It was a pleasure, and sorry for my barking duck sound.
It's okay. It's okay. We all have dogs, so we understand.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Toby. Bye-bye.
Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the second half of this episode, where I talk to one of the members of the executive committee of the FCI, our treasurer, Barbara Muller. Hello, Barbara. How are you?
Hello, Gopi. Thank you. Hopefully you are fine too.
I'm really good. Thank you. I'm going to comment on the beautiful painting behind you. I love it. I think it's gorgeous. Beautiful. There we go. We get a full view of it. Excellent. All right, Barbara, I'm going to start so that we can spend as much time as possible with the questions. As the newest member of the FCI board, can you share with us some of your thoughts so far about the role? What have you felt about this role?
It's true. I'm the youngest, not in age, but in time I'm being there. I'm the youngest member, but I have been president of the show Commission before, and I've been, or I'm still the vice president of the European section. That only because we did not have any election because of COVID. And I knew a bit of the business in the FCI. And yes, I thought.
So what were your intentions, or what was the things that you wanted to do in serving the FCI? What when you stood for elections, what went through your mind of how you wanted to serve in this role?
Many different things, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, how could I say? I was asked a few times years ago to come into the board or to stand up for election, and the time was not good for me.
Okay.
There were different things, and I thought, no, it is not the time. I should do it. And then in 2019, the time was ready, and I thought, when I get into the board, it is a worldwide organization, and there is so much to do.
Yes.
We have so many different things to do in the whole world that maybe my person from my side, I could help.
Yes.
That was my first idea.
Excellent. And do you think you've achieved some of those intentions, having served now for coming up to 2 years? Do you think?
As you know, we have Corona.
Yes.
Corona up to here. And that was a real problem, of course, because we could not do as much as we wanted in the whole FCI.
Okay.
Everything was blocked, including our meetings. Right. We had Zoom meetings like we have now, what is very good, but it's different.
Yes.
And yes, I think I gave. From my side of view, I know a lot about reading. I know a lot about shows, about judging. So I gave what I can give, and I hope it was okay up to now.
Well, I mean, I totally agree with you that it's very hard to be doing stuff when actually most of our activities went on hold. I mean, all our countries, forget about activities, a lot of our countries went into basically, pause mode for the last 18 months and or
yes.
so, coming back now. So it must have been hard to serve. And despite being one of the newest members on the board, you have the honor of being on the executive committee, and you actually hold the role of treasurer, as I introduced you. I mean, it's no irony that you're Swiss, and I guess the right people to keep the money going. But can you tell us can you tell us a little bit about the role of the treasurer? What do you what's your role as treasurer, and what does that involve as far as the FCI?
It is not easy to say. I think the treasurer, I mean, the work is done in Brussels. We have an accountant who is doing very well, and I get all the paper sheets. Once I met him, so I had the chance to know at least the accountant who is working for us. I know by person, right. And I get all the papers and accounts and can check that. And what is important on my side, or for me, that the FCI is on a good side, that we are not running out of money. For example, we have lots of staff who have to be paid, and I'm very happy we could keep them over this COVID time, because as you know, the FCI get most of the money, not all, but most of the money, what is coming in, our income is coming from shows, and shows were cancelled. So that was a big thing. And I'm very happy we are still with our accounts on the safe side.
Excellent.
To pay all our cost and to pay the staff.
Excellent. And I guess your role involves working closely with the other two members plus the executive director of the FCI in managing.
That is the most important, that we work together. And that is also what we all do. The executive committee are 3 people. And as you know, it's Tamas and it's Gerard Rieping and myself. But the whole committee has to be involved.
Right.
It is not only him or me. We are a full committee, and we have to work together, and we have to agree together on the income and on the outgoing money.
Okay, so it's not just you. So it's not just a case of you have final say. So if you decide no, you don't sign the checks.
Powerful lady, thank you. No. And it wouldn't be correct. It wouldn't be correct. The FCI has a committee, and they all are involved. Okay.
Barbara, you're very much a hands-on person. You are still breeding beautiful OESs, and you are actively, that's your passion. That's what you're involved with. You still breed, you still show your dogs, or your dogs are shown, and all that. Do you feel that because you are still very much involved in this role, you are more able to keep in touch with the grassroots and know what the needs are of people, what the concerns are of breeders? Do you feel that to be an effective board member, you have to be actively involved still in the sport?
I think we need both.
Okay.
We need both sides. We need people who have done that long time ago.
Okay.
And we need people like me and some others on the board. So it has to be, in my opinion, it has to be a good balance.
Right.
Because I don't know things from many, I know some things from 50 years ago, but not everything. And maybe people who are not showing or breeding anymore don't know my problems.
Okay.
And if we work together, then it is a good, we finally get a good result, I think.
So you're seeing it as a nice mix of a group of people, and so that you complement each other. So you're able to effectively complement each other. I like that. I like that. Do you find that because you're involved, it's easier for people to approach you, to come up to you, or do you tend to have to do the thing of sometimes telling them, certain issues you need to talk to your kennel clubs rather than talk to me because I'm a board member? Do you find people just, come and approach you because of that, or is it an advantage sometimes? Or
they are coming because they know me. They see me at dog shows, or they saw me at dog shows, and hopefully soon again. And it is easier when you know somebody, and when you see somebody is working or showing your dog, it's easier to say, hello, Barbara, could you tell me this and this? And if possible, I answer. If it is against our rules, I would say, as you have said, please ask your kennel club or ask your mentor or whomever. But as everything, it is easy for me to talk to you because I know you.
Right.
And if I have somebody who is a manager or director sitting on a high throne, then nobody would talk to him. So that is a human being.
Yes. So definitely being involved is still a big bonus, because it's
yes, sure.
More in touch and people, and you also see what's happening at ground level, so to speak.
Absolutely. I mean, I organize shows every year, and I show my dogs, not so often anymore, because if I win, people say, she is winning because she knows the judge. If I don't win, they ask me, didn't she like the judge, or didn't the judge like her? So, but I'm still involved, and especially in breeding.
As a board member, how do you feel you can be more effective, or how can you continue to be effective? What are some of the things you feel?
One of my goals is to speak to each other.
Okay.
And to discuss on a high level the problems we have. And I think that is very important, because writing emails is a good thing. But when you speak to each other, even by Zoom like now, it helps. If we have problems, I always will go for a meeting.
Right.
And on a good side. And I think that is what I will always try as long as I am in the board.
Brilliant. I love it. That personal touch makes a difference, right? When we can see each other's faces and hear our tone of voices, it makes a huge difference. And communication is the key.
Yes, yes. And I think, and that's why I prefer even more personal meeting than Zoom meeting, because the body language is so important.
Yeah.
If you sit like this, or if you sit like that, or if you close your arms, I mean, it says so much about the person and about the feeling.
Yes.
And then it helps, in my opinion, it helps for good communication and then as well for good results.
Completely agree with you. You're a wise woman.
Oh.
One of my final question rather, what are some of your future wishes or aspirations for the FCI, and what do you feel could possibly stand in the way of those dreams and aspirations?
Very difficult question. Yes, I think one of our problems will be we have 3 different region. We have Europe, we have America, and we have Asia.
Right.
And these sections have different problems.
Okay.
And the problems we have in Europe in the moment with brachycephalic breeds and other things, they will come to your countries.
Yes.
It is a question of time. We can see that the easiest is in Scandinavia. It started many years ago, the docking ban. Yes. And it came south, and now it's nearly in whole Europe. Not in all Europe, but nearly in whole Europe. So that is the easiest I can say. And it will come to other countries, and you have problems maybe we don't have yet.
Right.
And we should help each other. The sections should learn from each other. I think that is very important. And I hope that the Green parties, or let's say the welfare of dogs, will get higher and higher. The intention to have dogs which are safe, which have a good home, that this will be spread not only in FCI countries, but in the whole world.
Globally, yeah. Fantastic.
I think that is, for me, that is very, very important.
Wow. Beautiful answer. See, it wasn't that difficult. You did a great job answering it. Okay, Barbara, thank you so much for your time. It's been lovely chatting to you and finding out a little bit more about your role as treasurer in the executive committee of the FCI. Thank you again for your time, and I look forward to seeing you again sometime soon.
Yes, please, and hopefully then in person.
Absolutely.
Bye-bye. Thank you, Bobby. Bye. Bye.